Oh, wrong scene. Okay, here we are,
There we go.
live.
We are
Two-
back.
Me and James here. Today we are talking about portrait photography. Um, once we get this going here, is audio coming through? That's a big question, right? Are we getting sound? I see we got 3 people in here now.
Mhm.
Let me know if you can hear us in the comments. If you can
Just
see
in case.
Making sure it's all going well. Someone had just told me that the music wasn't coming through the countdown. I don't know if it was or not. Bringing the chat up over here. Okay. Do you want to talk about who we're going to have on here today, James?
Yeah, so we are having with a capital THE, Robbie Gant. I've worked with him for going on 3 years now, a little over 3 years. He's actually the senior to me, so he's the senior photographer. And the guy knows anything that there is to know about not just photography, but about light in general. Like he's like the Godfather.
Awesome. Yeah, he'll be.
I know he'll say he's not, but
hopefully in just a minute. So, yeah, I think I told him 9:05. So, if everything goes right, you should be here in just a second here. I'm gonna make sure it connects. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about this stuff too because I respect photography, obviously. But I would never call myself a photographer, but obviously a lot of that applies even in cinema.
Yeah.
Motion picture.
Yeah, he's taught me so much about photography. I walked in, I feel like I didn't know anything after 3 years. I'm like, my gosh, my perspective on it has changed a lot. So it is 9:05.
Robbie, can you hear me? He's in the guest room. I don't know if. Let me assign him to 3-person. Let's see if this is going to work. Where's my screen?
Don't fail us now, Ecan.
We're working it out here, Robbie. I don't know if you can hear us or not, but we're getting there. So I gotta move this here. Assign guest 2. Robbie.
There he is.
Can you see
there
us?
I am. You can hear me okay?
Oh, here we go.
I can hear you. Okay, I'm going to rearrange this here.
Great.
What's up, Robbie? How's it going?
How's it going, fellas? I'm good. I just heard your intro, and I am not the Godfather. I will dispute that.
See, I told you, Austin. I told you he'd say it.
Yes, James.
No, you know what? I was literally just kind of perusing your YouTube channel, right? And I looked at the top link, and it was like, oh, live chat with a pro. I'm like, awesome. Who is this? I want to watch it. Like, that's not me. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Oh no, thank you. Thank you for being the guinea pig for this too. Like I said, we're trying to do this. I mean, thankfully we got it figured out faster than I thought. But it's nice to meet you virtually here, Robbie.
You too. What's going on, fellas?
He's heard a lot about you, Robbie. He's heard a lot about you.
I have.
I never know what to say to that. I'm like,
all good.
It could be bad. I asked James the other day if this was going to have a disclaimer, like a MA, like a TV MA, or if there was a dump button. I'm going to try my hardest.
No, I haven't figured that out yet. I don't know if I should probably learn how to do that.
Okay.
You're like, just in case, yeah.
I've been practicing.
So, Robbie, we've been working together, for like, is it 3 years now?
I'll go with
that.
On
the team for 4.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you there. That sounds about right. 3 years.
Yeah.
Or we're just wrapping up the 3rd year.
Yeah.
So have you always been in photography, or is it something that you grew up wanting to do, or something you just fell into?
Tell you the truth, I kind of, as a kid, I had an interest in photography for sure. I have early memories of there being a camera around the house. There was this little Yashica that my dad had, and I remember my parents, they kept it on top of the hutch, thinking it was safe there. But I would, I would get the chair and climb up there and grab it, and it was just fascinating because I saw my dad use it. I obviously was aware what a camera was, but it wasn't an SLR, but it wasn't a point and shoot. It was kind of somewhere in between, so like a rangefinder, and it was just sort of fascinating. So
Mhm.
I would literally like walk around the house and press the shutter, even though there's no film in there, and it was, I don't know, it just kept my interest. So I was actually thinking about this the other day because James and I have sort of discussed the beginning, like what was the first camera, and this is one of those things where I thought it was like a fever dream. Like, did I really get this camera? Or am I going to make this story up? But it turns out I was right. Is Ponderosa still around? Is that restaurant still?
I
don't
think
know
that
for sure
they went out of
or
business.
not.
I think.
Okay, well that tells you how old I am. So people are gonna have to look this up. But there was a movie called Leonard Six, and Ponderosa, I kid you not, did like a promo with it where they gave away these little spy cameras because the character was supposedly like some undercover spy. It was a comedy, but so yeah, I remember having this little spy camera as like a 7-year-old, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And yeah, so I mean, going back, I've actually scanned a bunch of negatives in the past few years. Like I have
Mhm.
the negatives from like, kindergarten, first grade, times when I would bring it to school. So I've always had a camera around me, I guess. It wasn't really until like high school where I really started to get into it.
So are
Yeah,
you
because you were
more
the
film or?
photographer. Oh, go ahead, Austin.
Oh no, sorry. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, because you were your photographer for the school newspaper. Is that right?
Yeah, we had my high school had a black and white photography class. Where you photograph with black and white film and you hand process it and you print it and whatnot. And then once you passed that, you had the option, or you were allowed to. We had a monthly magazine, so to speak, and we also had a yearbook. So there was a staff of each. Yeah, so I ended up falling right into that and photographing for the Jacket Journal magazine, and added to the yearbook for my junior and senior year.
Now you went straight. Did you go from because when you went to college, you went to college for photography to a
Mhm.
school that no longer exists, right?
That's a great intro, James. Thank you. Yes, I am a graduate of the Ohio Institute of Photography, and that was in Dayton, Ohio. As I mentioned, like I grew up in kind of Northeast Ohio, and my photography teacher, my instructor in high school, he actually kind of, I don't know, he took me under his wing one day. He's like, he saw that I was way into this photography because I was spending so much time in the dark room and would shoot just for fun for myself, but I had access to it. So um, he kind of took me in and saw that I had this interest, and I guess I was good enough for him to recommend, like I should check that school out. His son actually graduated from there, so like he had firsthand experience as to what the quality of education was, and kind of what I should expect. So I think that conversation was like end of my junior year, and that was the first time where I ever really seriously thought that was going to be an option. Originally, I thought it was going to be a writer or like an English teacher or something like that, but photography ended up being the course I went after. It was just a natural fit for me.
I feel like you're one of the. I mean, maybe not one of the few, but it's not a lot of people can say that they've done photography their entire career.
Mhm.
I pinch myself sometimes. Yeah, it's to be honest, and I don't know how this is going to come off, but like I still keep in contact with a lot of people I went to college with, and they were all photographers. That was the highlight of the school, right? And very few of them have stuck with it. I don't know whether for life reasons they lost interest or job, whatever. But yeah, there's only maybe a handful of us that kept with it. And that's not to say that haven't been ups and downs in this career for sure, but it's always been
Mhm.
my main gig somehow. Yeah, whether it's working for a studio or working for myself, or freelancing for colleges, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's when I even saying it, like I'm a pro photographer, it's weird to me, this far even into the career path.
Do you think success has a lot to do with just staying consistent at it, or what do you think led to most people just dropping out of interest in it, like didn't keep pursuing it?
I think you have to be a little bit kind of crazy, right? Like it's almost like an obsessive point, right? I mean, because I, especially now, like accessibility of photography is abundant, right? Like you can get a camera. At the time I went to school, like medium format film was sort of the frontier. That's where the pros were for portraits and magazines and that sort of thing. Obviously, sports was different. That was 35 millimeter, but so it wasn't really accessible to a lot of people. First of all, the cost involved, right? Like the film, film was not accessible. It wasn't easily processed. You need special machines. The cameras themselves were enormous. Like it just wasn't feasible. But I guess I kind of get it. I got it I like to think of it as a sweet spot because I learned on analog, like film was it for me. And it wasn't until I was out of college for like 4 years before I even touched a digital camera. Like I didn't even take Photoshop until my last semester of college. They're like, whoa, you need this class to graduate. I'm like, oh, I guess I should probably do that. But no, it was film. And honestly, the school had invested in a digital film back for one of those cameras, but it was like... It was like a 2 megapixel, right? And this is on the back of a medium format RZ, like a Mamiya RZ67. And at the time, it was like 30 grand. So like, there's no way this digital thing's going to catch on, right? So I actually forgot your question, but I think it had to do with how I stuck with it. And I think a lot of it's luck. I'm not going to sit here and say that I had all the answers. I think I networked well. I stayed consistent with shooting. I think I treated people well. Maybe that's a good way to put it. And I kept practicing. So there's a lot I still feel like I don't know, but the opportunities I had, like I capitalized on them for sure.
Yeah, it seems like every creative field kind of has the same setup. Is you just keep at it, treat people well, and it seems like most people who don't find success they just quit pursuing it. Really.
Absolutely. I mean, you a lot of people see stuff online and they're like, it's this glamorous thing, and you have to have this flashy, posting, timeline or advertisement of some sort. But it really comes, at least for me. Now, this could be different because again, I'm kind of a dinosaur when it comes to this stuff. But word of mouth is still what I count on for business, or we count on, because my wife and I have a business that we shoot together. And it's referral based. Like we do not put ourselves out there that much. We let other people do the marketing for us, and that's kind of better because people are pre-screened. Like they know what they're looking for, and they can, or their friends know what people are looking for, and they can refer them back to us. And
oh yeah, that's the best way to build trust. You can see the best ad of your life, but if your friend tells you, hey, this person's really good at what they do, you should go with them for what you need. That's going to mean a lot more.
Absolutely. If you're a jerk, it gets out there fast.
Oh yeah. Especially in the creative industry, it does. Talk.
Yeah.
And Robbie, you came from the world that, when you began, you had to buy like the Lightroom and Photoshop software, right? And
James, this whole thing was that to show how antiquated I am. Am I being punk? Is this? Yes.
Maybe,
okay.
Maybe.
So when I think the first version of Photoshop that I used was 5.
Okay.
And I had to purchase for Lightroom. Yeah, I'll go all the way back to Lightroom 1, the very first edition, even the beta. And yeah, it was a disc. They didn't even have a download option.
Okay.
Like that wasn't a thing at all. So fortunately, a lot of my work involved colleges and academics, so I was able to get that first version relatively inexpensive. But
so was it a real version or was it bootlegged?
Oh, it was real. I mean, I have plenty of bootleg stuff, don't get me wrong, but the version, I had an actual license and it was a disc. And I think at the time you could get the full version for, I'm going to say like $69 with the educational discount, and it was like $99 retail. So yeah, subscription base and the downloadable, or the apps, so to speak, that you have to kind of always stay logged into the Creative Cloud. That wasn't even in anybody's mind,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I had a bootleg disc of After Effects 3, AE3 or something. I remember that a long time ago.
You making some confessions here. Is this something? Has the statute of limitations come through?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of people. Like, honestly, I haven't met anybody who didn't have a bootleg version of it from that that
I
era.
think it's a rite of passage. I think it's a
It
rite of
kind of
passage
feels that
for
way.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we
all
have
my
some
licenses
questions.
were. Yeah, go ahead, hit me. I'm ready for it.
If you want to do them now or later, James. What do you?
I had another one for you. You said you didn't touch a digital camera until about 4 years after college. What
Mhm.
were some of those like challenges that you faced with, going from film and going into digital?
I think first and foremost, I didn't have a computer that could even keep up with digital. I had like
Oh, sure.
an 80 gig hard drive Dell computer that had, like not even a 512 or like 256 memory. It was ridiculous, right? So that the challenge. So let me back up a little bit. I actually, the first digital camera I ever used was a Fuji S2, and that was actually when I was working at a studio space. So what we did was shot the color portraits on the RZ67s. We were using Portra 160 film, and then we shot only the black and whites on the Fuji S2. So it was, we obviously there was a team of photographers. It was foreign to us because one, like, there was always this fear, like, oh, you're going to corrupt a file if you do something wrong. Like if you turn it off too fast, or if you don't have the card in there just right, or like, you shake the camera, like there's something that's going to happen to the file and it's not stable. But also kind of the limited dynamic range, right? Which I will say, film at that time, and dynamic range is like what the film could capture in the brightest spot of the highlight down to the darkest part of the shadow. So film at that point was like, 12 stops or something. But digital, the dynamic range was like 4 stops. It was way closer to like shooting slide film, right? Like it was much like that. And so nailing the exposure was difficult, right? Unless you had a very controlled environment, like getting a good exposure. And that's why we didn't shoot those for like actual events. Like it was only in that studio space. So it took a while to really get sort of to the point where I was comfortable with it. And then I purchased my own Canon 10D, and that was like I don't know, I'm about to look it up, but it might be like an 8 megapixel or something.
Oh wow.
But yeah, then figuring out the whole back end of Lightroom and file management and just things that were foreign then, and I know are probably secondhand to most people now. But like, what do you do with a card after you take it out? Do you have to reformat it, or all that stuff was kind of crazy, right?
Just keep buying new ones.
Yeah, just keep buying new ones. It is like a roll of film. You don't take it off there.
After every shoot, that's
for sure. And it's hard to imagine. For you guys, I'm guessing you both came up in digital. Like that was what you started with.
Yeah.
Am I right there? So
yeah,
I know, James. You go ahead, Austin. Go ahead.
Oh no, you continue.
I feel like I'm running it. Like, okay, you and this. No, I was just say I know that James owns one of the cameras that I shot with at the studio, which was that RB67.
The RB67. Oh
And
man,
it's a
the thing that weighs a ton.
It's sort of a novelty, right? Is it handy, James? Is it right there? Are you able to?
It is actually. I have it right next to me. Yeah.
People may not
it's
have.
so cool looking.
Behemoth. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you got the top-down viewfinder.
Yeah, it looks like the ghost trap from Ghostbusters, right? Like you slide that thing
It does.
out.
It really does.
And I had the luxury or the pleasure of dropping one of those, or actually like, my light meter got caught on the tripod and I just pulled the camera over, just slow motion, and the back just exploded. So like the whole session was gone, and so I didn't do that again. But
yeah.
shows you.
Was it permanently damaged after that, or Was it?
Oh yeah, it blew into pieces. Well, okay, so the camera body, you look at it, there's a camera body and then the lens, and then there's a film back, and the film back is what took the brunt of the impacts. We were able to. I was working for the studio, so it's not that painful for me, but the studio had plenty of film backs. The only thing we lost was, we lost the images because they were exposed to light, but that thing's a tank, right? Like you could.
It is, yeah.
That's why they're still around. They haven't made that camera in at least 25 years, and probably works as well as it ever did.
Well, honestly, I think that's the way almost any film camera is. I think I was telling you, Robbie, the other day, I was watching something where this guy was like, oh yeah, this, film camera has been out in the sun, or it's been outside for who knows how long. And I'm like, I don't know, it might still work. They were built like tanks, man.
They were.
Meant to withstand.
Exactly. You see cameras from like World War II that are still out there, right? Like, they knew what they were doing. So, and I myself, my first DSLR, or no, my first SLR, like my first film camera. I looked it up the other day just to kind of refresh myself, and it was the first like all plastic. So I don't feel too great about it living, but it's still I have it in storage, so it's here. I still have it, and it's still.
Oh, you still have it? Wow.
I still have it. Yeah. I don't shoot with it, but I'm tempted to get it out and see what I can do.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool to see, especially if it's still working.
I hope so. Yeah. I know they still make the battery for it. The battery that it used is still around, right? So that's the thing with technology, where like the batteries do age out. Like they go to a completely different power source, and unless you have extras, it's obsolete.
Yeah, I don't know what you do if you could design your own power source and
I won't do any of that, but I have faith. I have faith in you.
We have some questions in the comments here.
My point was having a plastic camera that is at this point 30 years old, and it still is structurally sound, right? Like, so it was built well. It was built well, and it's not metal.
Ours today won't be like that in 30 years.
And those are probably programmed to self-destruct, if we're being honest.
Probably.
I'd believe it.
Yeah.
We do have some questions here in the comments here.
Questions in the
comments.
This is actually
who is this guy? What's he doing here? Why did I subscribe to this?
Let's see our first comment here. This is so cool. I didn't know there was a school dedicated to photography in the Midwest. It was okay.
Absolutely, there was. I think it was around for a good 25 years. It ended up actually getting purchased by Kaplan University, and then kind of went through a series of a slow demise. I'll put it that way. But yeah, that's why. Honestly, if you ever are this bored, and if you are, I feel sorry for you, but that's why there are so many photographers in the Dayton, Cincinnati, like Central Ohio area. A lot of those people either moved there to go to school and just stayed, or a lot of people were local. So there's a dense population of photographers in Ohio for sure.
Interesting.
That's why I moved here.
Yeah. Too much competition.
Caitlin asks again. She says, what was your experience at school? Do you feel that the skills you learned at photography school carried into your professional career, or did you end up learning more on your own?
I think both are true, for sure. It was a technical school first, right? Like we had to know the ins and outs and the science of photography. So that part, the fundamentals of that were critical, or critical to my success anyways. Like if I knew how to do something, even if I wasn't, the most artistic or most creative person, like if I could solve and know what a film was capable of, or what, how powerful a strobe, watt seconds, all that stuff had to be, like that really benefited me in the long run. And I think the other part of that, along with the instructors, obviously, and the people that were teaching the classes, was the opportunity to get in-person critiques, as opposed to like posting your images to Instagram or wherever you put them now.
That's huge.
Yeah, we every week, we'd have assignments where we had to show a print, and everybody in the classroom had to comment on it. They had to tell you what they thought about it, whether it was good or bad, and that was humbling, right? Like, but so valuable from the extent of like, oh, that person has a point, and they're not trying to be mean to me. Like, they're just saying, you didn't consider that. So, how that sort of translates, or how that varies from today, I think that's the biggest thing I think I would miss if I tried to start now and go into it. It would be hard to have people that will take the time and actually communicate with you in a constructive way.
In a constructive way, yeah, because that's key.
Mm-hmm.
People probably will communicate with you.
People will give you opinions.
Yeah,
you have to trust the opinions that you're getting, right? Like, you have to know that this person knows what they're talking about. Otherwise, it's just noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
That's what's so nice.
I think so.
Was that okay?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that. Oh, she had another one.
I think when you were talking about,
I wish I could see it. It's right. It's way down there. I'm sorry. I just see this big picture. I just see this big screen of myself, and I'm like, why? Did no one tell me?
That's amazing.
Did no one tell me that I look like this? Hold on.
That makes so much sense. I just thought the Ohioans were bored, and everyone took up the same hobby. I'm assuming she's referring.
That's true too. That's absolutely true. Ohioans do get bored. No, Buckeyes is, I think, the politically correct term, but that's a valid point for sure.
That's what's so nice about starting with film is, like, you really have to trust yourself. I mean, you have to learn, shutter speed, ISO, aperture. I mean, you can't just put everything on auto and, just rapid fire, right? You only have, a certain number of frames.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're shooting, whether it's 24 frames or 36, like a roll of film, and I think that was the part I wanted to sort of get at earlier, was with medium format, there was a physical cost involved. Regardless of time,
Sure.
every time you press the button on that camera, it was $1.50. So if you were footing the bill for that, right, and you had 20 frames on a RZ67 on 220 film, right, like, okay, $30 just the cost, right? So, and that's not including like the price of the film. Like, that's including just processing and getting proofs made. So it's crazy. So
I don't even know what it is today. Yeah.
I mean, I think you can get a print made for like 15 cents, but I don't know as far as the processing goes. I don't know. I know Roberts does it downtown. There's fewer and fewer places, but I think it's still accessible. But I don't know what medium format processing and proofs are yet.
I think they like to get a medium format scanned and uploaded. I think it's $20 a roll. I know it's $20 a roll for Portra. I know there's like different prices for each different,
chemistry
company. Chemistry. Yeah. So it's only getting more expensive.
And that's for color. I'm sure if black and white, it's like there's so many different chemicals that or developer differences that people have preferences for. So that's, I'm sure, more costly. Austin, I can see you now, and your light is, I feel like you're straight out of a movie, man. First of all, I feel very, I can see you now, and it's very good light. I mean, this is what I get from like taking 2 hours to do it. So
I can see.
I'm not a video guy.
I tell you have a face and 2 eyes, so that's all that's important. My lighting's kind of a mess here. I just kind of, if you could see what it looks like on the other side, it's very moody.
You've got some clout, man, for sure. James, you're a little more approachable, but Austin is definitely heavy in this duo.
I'll take the compliment, but if you could see, it's a wired mess on the other side of this.
I mean, my laundry is next to me, so if that says anything.
Mine's not too far.
What else you got?
I have some good photos here.
You do? I do. I act surprised, like I didn't send them to you. Oh, really?
I didn't know.
What do you have?
I didn't know if James. I didn't know if he just ripped them and got them from you, so I had no idea. But
I think he does do that. I think he does do that in general, but
I went to his house.
You did. The assignment was, and I have to clarify here, was pick your favorite images. So they may not be the best images, but they are some of my favorites. So
we can talk about why they're your favorite. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to go through each one, or we can
Okay.
say them all, and you can point them out. How do you want to do that? Should we go through them all, just one by one? We can talk about each one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
There's
Let's
one
see.
that's like a series that I don't know how you bring them up, but yeah, go ahead. We'll improvise.
Well,
Figure it out.
Yeah. Let's see if the scene works I built. I'm gonna push the button.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay.
Hey, there we go.
Hey. Oh, they're up on one screen at once. Okay. All right.
So I can highlight each one. So.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Okay. With this one.
This was a college project. This was an assignment. If you are familiar with, or if you're not, you should be. Photographer Arnold Newman was kind of was known for the way he would place people in a frame, like having an environmental portrait and creating depth with like sort of, again, weird croppings. Like this was a time when most photos people were dead in the center, and it was very straightforward, but he was a very crafty and thoughtful with his posing and the locations, right, where he put people. So how that translates to this image, it's inspired by him, but the story is Rita. That is Rita Kipp. She is an anthropology professor, or was at the time, at Kenyon College. And those are masks above her from Indonesia. I believe there's a lot of history there with those masks. So for me, it was one of those things where, it was one of the early black and white medium format portraits that I did. And it was very, very intentional in how it was shot. So, I like to go back and refer to like the early stuff when things sort of really clicked for me.
That's really
and that's kind of the crazy thing about filmmaking a resurgence is I feel like a lot of people, not to say you can obviously be creative with digital photography, but I feel like film photography is just because you are limited, there's a lot more thought process that goes into how to pose someone, where to put them in the frame and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be intentional with film. And I think that's actually a benefit of it, where you put some thought into it and you can strip away all the luxuries, maybe. Like yes, you can always scan it and sort of fix it in post now, so to speak, but you gotta really put some effort into what you're capturing. And I mean, that highlight, like it's on the back of the couch there, I mean, that is intentional because there is a diffuser. From the viewer, there's a large window, and there's a diffuser in the window, but it is actually lowered to kind of give that leading line that goes like right into her. When I look at this photo, the only thing I wish were different is if that was burned in a little bit more, right? Like it's a little hot for me. But,
yeah.
But otherwise, it's all. There's nothing in that photo that shouldn't be there, other than how it's how the highlights exposed or printed.
So what was this shot on?
That was shot with a Mamiya 645, and that was probably Ilford film at the time. I think it's probably Delta 3200.
So not iPhone.
Nice.
Yeah, and
not iPhone.
If you're interested, it's like I remember we'd have to pull process things. Like there were ways of processing film. So yeah, even though they are a high ISO, right, where you think the grain would be enormous, and there's grain structure in that. Even though what I'm saying is you could reduce the size of that grain just based on how you ran it through a developer. So yeah, I had some things that I preferred doing, some looks I like. Well, I will say there are a couple of presets that have nailed that look, and I definitely own them.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
for sure.
I'm gonna move to the next one. Let's see if this goes. I don't know what order these are in or how it's gonna go.
Yeah,
it doesn't move, so I guess I gotta click out and click in, so I can go in any order I want. I really like this one.
Yes. That is another professor, geology. Yeah, I think it's Professor
like straight
Bill
on
Hobb.
Nat Geo magazine.
And
That's
that's kind
exactly
of
what I thought when I saw it.
okay. So
Hmm.
this was a time when, and again, I'm giving all kinds of nods towards how old I am, but there was a website that was super popular at the time named Strobist, which was the rantings and the educational opinions of David Hobby, who was an excellent photographer. So he had this site called Strobist and updated all the time with how and he was a photojournalist, I think in like North Carolina or Virginia, and he just got on and really laid out like how he shot things and like what gear he used. And if you're at all interested in flash photography, especially on location flash photography, his
Mhm.
that site is still active. He doesn't update it, but maybe once every couple years. But there's a library that is worth investing in, spending the time there. I digress. Anyways, this was one of those first times where I had multiple strobes of my own that were off camera, and I was using gels and doing all this
Wow.
stuff, and was able to make a place that is actually not a cave look like a cave.
Mm,
Yeah, that
that
is.
is
I mean,
really neat.
he is literally
That's
like in broad daylight, out like just against like a stone wall. So he's just like sort of
oh,
sitting on this little stump, and it's exposed and kind of crafted in a way that makes it look like it's down in there. But I tried to find a screenshot of like from Google Maps to show you what the place actually looks like. But this was the time where it's like, okay, you know, I got the color balance, I've got the complementary colors there, and the kind of light I want and exposed for his headlamp and all that stuff. So this was a favorite because it's one of the first times I remember like everything sort of coming together, and his pose was good, and um, yeah, I felt really good about that image.
actually,
I say you
Clearly,
could have fooled me. I legit thought it was in the
no,
cave.
right? It is
was
not a
really
cave,
surprised.
so
That's wild.
I
That's so
surprised
cool.
myself.
So this guy,
What's that? I didn't run into this guy
so
in a
this
cave.
guy
No.
was like, okay. So he was like
Yeah,
the guy that you were just talking about, the photographer. He was like the YouTube before YouTube. Sounds like.
for sure. Yeah. Go to
Yeah.
strobist.com or strobist.blogspot or something like that. But
Is it still
he
around?
was, yeah. It is. It is still around. Thankfully, he's kept it. He's kept it alive.
That's neat.
There's more
So what was
information
this?
there than any other place I've visited on the web.
I'll have to check that out. What was
Yeah.
this
And his
Damn.
name's
photography?
his name's David Hobby. Last name's Hobby.
Hobby.
It is free too. Like there's no cost for it. So go to it. If you're
That's
not, you're
surprising because
doing
I
a
know a lot of
disservice.
yeah, because so many photographers, even if they have a YouTube channel literally about photography, they still have a separate thing where it's like, oh, it's like $300 for this 8 hour course or whatever, you know. And
Hmm.
sometimes, I
Absolutely.
mean, depending on who it is, it might be worth it. But yeah, that's crazy that it's for free. That's amazing.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Next, let's go to this one.
This is more, well, I shouldn't say more. It's a lot of sentimentalism here. This is someone that I grew up with and then sort of lost touch. And during that time, she ended up going to New York and became a professional dancer. Like that was her gig. She was there I mean, she still is still a professional dancer and instructor. But now she's in California. But her name's Mallory, and I don't know. It was one of those things where I had a book, and we can talk about that too. But there was a photography book or a book about creativity by Twyla Tharp, who was a choreographer and a dancer herself. And the cover is that's what inspired this image. Like it's a cover image, but Twyla is in that photo. She's aged, right? You can kind of tell and she's more towards the top of the ladder. So the symbolism was like, yeah, it's a climb, but I got here and I'm at the top of it. And with Mallory, it was more, I don't know. There are other photos where you see how much of a powerhouse, like an athlete, she is, but this one's more of a softer image to kind of reflect how I saw her the last time before she went off. So she looks a little
Mhm.
younger there. She looks kind of a little more meek. So it was a way of sort of paying homage both to Twyla Tharp and also, you know, acknowledging where Mallory came from. So yeah, that one I just like, and the cropping's fun, and yeah, there's a lot of sentimentality in that one.
Was this in a studio? I assume from the or
This was actually in a black box theater. So
Mm.
for a lot of the projects, and okay, another David Hobby thing. Like this was, I did a sequence with the stroboscopic flash where it was like a scene where she's moving. So the shutter is basically just wide open, and it's bulb exposure, right? And the flashes kind of capture her in sequence. So like one frame could have 20 images on it just in the sequence. And a lot of times like you see that for like Sports Illustrated for the Olympics or things like that.
Mhm.
But so that was the point of that shoot, to do the stroboscopic stuff, which I did poorly. But then I also did some of these portraits, and this is shot in my hometown. I contacted the college there, and they were on winter break, and I asked if I could use the theater, and security let me use the theater for like 2 hours.
Huh.
So
Nice.
there are ways there. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
obviously you'd need to check, but like security and all that stuff. But if you ask, you'd be surprised what you can access.
hmm
No, for sure. That's what I learned in college was just like, more often than not, if you ask, most people will say yes.
Yeah.
If there's a way, they'll help you out for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Free
I
of
wish I
charge
had
most of the time
I
too.
wish I had taken more like wide shots of the setups and like what the scene looked like without all the stuff to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like a before and
Yeah.
after
Oh,
photo.
sure.
I regret not doing that.
Yeah.
So to all you people that are, at least bit interested in hearing what I have to say, do that. Do the
Well, I
do
was,
the
I was
setup
going to
photos.
ask. So, is there a large light source you hear? Is this a flash that's going on off to the right here?
Yeah, there's a large to the right on the viewer right, so to her left. There is a shoot through umbrella, and I can tell you it was a Canon 550 speedlight, shooting through just like a 27 or like a 32-inch white umbrella. So that's to the right of her, and then that light that's sort of tweaking in between the ladder is a, I think that was a 430. It might have been the 550. There might be another 550 in there, and that's got a little like DIY modifier that I made. That was kind of like a snoot, kind of like to focus that light on her more, so there's not that much lens flare. But yeah, it's just basically one light on her on the front, and one light giving you that kicker on the back. But it's feathered, right? It's feathered. It's feathered toward camera, so the light from that umbrella is also spilling over onto the ladder and exposing for that. I like how I'm like making all these gang signs and people can't see what I'm showing. Yeah, pay no attention to the man that's adjacent to the image.
So is the light source like right outside of frame there, or how far was
Yep.
that?
Yeah, right outside of the frame. So, 7 feet maybe, and it's
I really like what's hitting her face there.
yeah.
I don't know. Can I zoom on this? Will it let me zoom? I thought I'd be able to like zoom in, but I guess I can't. Oh wait, there's a little zoom button.
I like it.
There we go.
I like your enthusiasm, man.
It's, well, I didn't really zoom much. I guess I gotta go all the way up. I don't know. Well, maybe one day
I can send you the high res.
No.
I'm sure I could find the high res and send it to you if you're curious.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I want to find a better way to do this. Right now we're just going through Milanote and just kind of bring it up.
Mhm.
The birds
That's
here.
cool. I mean, the fact that you're doing it is awesome in general.
Yeah.
Now, Robbie, with the first few photos that we went through,
I love this.
those were all early on photos. Like,
Mhm.
how would you say that your your approach to photography has changed within, how X number of years that you've been doing photography?
Well, now you're being polite with an X amount of years. Approach. I think my approach is still the same, right? Like, as far as when it comes to portraits, and again, it varies depending on what type of photography you're talking about. When it comes to portraits, though, like my approach is still to make a connection with somebody.
Mhm.
Like, approach that person and make them feel important, right? Like there's a reason that I'm taking their photograph, and you have to find something that you have in common or that interests you about that person. And I realized that last photo was a dog, but the connection to another human being is still what I value the most. I think that that's still valued by the subject too. I could be wrong, but so my approach is to be a human, to be to be present. And I think early on, I wasn't that present. I was too freaked out about the gear, too freaked out about like
Sure.
all the technical stuff, and the work suffered, right? Like people, especially if you're distracted by any other element other than them, it ruins their connection to you, albeit brief. It's like, even if you look down at your camera and kind of chimp, right? You have to be able to do things with your camera, meaning you have to be able to make setting changes and review things quickly and discreetly, and still maintain that rapport you've got with someone, because it can go just like that. The second someone feels like they're not, that the camera is more important than they are, then you lose them. So yeah, that, I think that's a big difference of how the approach has remained the same, but it's been refined quite a bit.
That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
and
Yeah.
I can speak from personal experience. The few times that we've been on shoots together, especially for work, not only are you really good about doing that with the subject when doing the portraits, but even more so like when we're doing the the interviewing of the student and being able to keep them engaged and feeling calm and stuff like that. So yeah, you do very well.
My path to photographing people was, I think it suited me as far as like my first job was working for a studio that did senior portraits, like seniors in high school. So above everything else, you're dealing with people who are not confident in themselves. I shouldn't say everyone, but there are a lot of people that are not secure about themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't want to be in front of a camera. And I realize that has changed since like social media and whatnot. But it was hard. It was hard to, if someone, we all were there, like we were all in high school and felt insecure about ourselves, or we thought we didn't fit in and we're the outsider. And so photographing people that they're fragile, right? You gotta be connected with that person, especially if you're going to take more than just like a headshot, right? I mean, in a headshot for a yearbook where it's just like you're out. If you're going to spend an hour with someone or an hour and a half, or you're going to go on location and work with this student, you got to let them know they're safe and that you're only there to make them look good.
Would you say
and that's I maintain that the whole time. Yeah, go ahead.
Would you say that's 50% or more of the job itself? That skill with people over the camera.
Ooh, I think it's more important than the gear. Put it that way. James kind of clued me in on sort of a question. It was more like, so what's the most of these three things? What is the most important? And they're all important, but like you can give me that Ripple G out of my closet that I've not shot with in 30 years, and I could get an image, even though it's like a ProMaster lens and it's an f5.6 and all that stuff. I think, especially working with people, you have to find a way to sort of, and this is a little cliche because I've heard other people say it, but you genuinely have to find a reason to love them, right? Even if it's for a couple minutes, like you got to find something that, oh, you're interested in that. I noticed this about you. So there's some psychology behind it for sure, but ultimately, if you can make someone a stranger, right? Because a lot of people that James and I work with now are not, they're commercial photographs, they're commercial portraits, but they're not paid actors. They're actual students, they're actual faculty members, they're actual people that are not, it's not a paid gig for them, right? So you have to make them feel a certain way. And I think that's critical when it comes to portrait photography. If you don't like people,
Yeah, and a lot of times it's
if you don't like them,
yeah,
you're not
it's the
good.
wrong business.
Yeah.
Portrait photography is not
Yeah.
for you.
No. That's I like the way you put that. I'd never heard that before. You should find a how'd you word it? Find a reason or find a reason to love
Find
them
a
or
reason
find
to
something
love
to love.
them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Find something in common with them, and that could be something as simple as like, I don't know, like their shoes, right? Like, oh, I know that, I like Air Jordans. Those are great. I know that I had those when I was in high school. And that's a weird example, but just, notice an expression, notice what they're dealing with. Like, hey, I see that you might be a little nervous with this. And I'm going to be honest with you, the first 10 minutes of this is going to suck. And I know that.
Yeah.
And what you're feeling is completely normal. And some people it doesn't suck, but some people it does. And some people it takes longer than that. Sometimes it takes what it takes, right? So
Hmm.
you have to be willing to acknowledge that and not make someone feel self-conscious. And I think that actually goes back to the gear too. Like, well, one of the advice portion of this is if you are a portrait photographer and you take a photo and you look at, first of all, try not to look down so much. But if you look down and you like make a face or you make a noise, that will destroy the whole session completely. Like you cannot react in a way that's negative, because it either makes them think that you think that they're not adequate for this, or that you've done something technically wrong and they'll lose faith in you altogether.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose.
And to that point too, a lot of the students that we work with, or maybe a lot of people just in general, it's their first time. Sometimes I'll ask students, be like, you're like, oh, have you ever had, professional photos taken of you or anything like that? They're like, nope, this is first time. So, and like you said, you have to be quick to make that rapport and be able to, not necessarily get super personal, but a little.
Yeah, unless you're specifically photographing a certain age range where it's consistent and what their exposure to either social media or what their life is like outside of there. If you're only photographing people that are 60 years old or older, like there's a different kind of things you have to know and be aware of and can reference so that they know that you've been included. But you might end up then photographing someone who's fresh out of high school and they've grown up having their picture taken or taking their own selfie since they were 5 years old. So it just depends, and you have to be able to give people whatever space they need to kind of settle in.
That's interesting. I never thought about that from a professional photographer standpoint of the multiple generations and the younger generation being so comfortable with parents pointing cameras at them all the time, or phones, or in selfies all the time. People being more comfortable with it's interesting to think about. We have a new comment here.
Yeah, is that
Lauren Chapman? She's asking,
what are some of the biggest influences, specifically professional photographers? I have a lot of favorites.
I was gonna say,
I along with the people we studied in college, like some of my early photography heroes were heroes. Listen to that. It's like a legacy. I love Mark Seliger. So let me back up. You guys know the magazine Us Weekly? Like it's a total tabloid trash. Well, before it was Us Weekly, it was Us Monthly, and it was a really good magazine. It was a lot like a Rolling Stone, and there were long articles with firsthand interviews with celebrities. It wasn't just like, oh, look, this person's getting coffee with some unknown woman, or that sort of thing. Like, it was a legit magazine, and I lived to see the portraits that were in that magazine. Like, I was so in awe of them, right? It was the first time where I would see, I'm like, oh, I can't wait till that comes out, because I want to see what. And Mark Seliger he wasn't a staff photographer, but he was one of the photographers they used a lot. And so it just appealed to me. He was very creative, very clever with like the way he would photograph people, but also like solid technically. He was, and I realized that he had a team of people, but I've also seen him do stuff just solo, and it's consistently just breathtaking. So I would say his is probably the first photographer where I could see an image and know that he took it. which I had never been at that point. And then kind of from there, other photographers that work for that magazine were, well, Annie Leibovitz, of course, she's a and also she's a legend. But so like the Rolling Stone images from her, I remember getting a book, right? Like the history of rock and roll through Rolling Stone or something. I forget what the actual title of it was, but it was all like the best portraits from Rolling Stone over like, a 30-year period. And just so happened, like, and I was like 15, right? And there's just beautiful portraits. A lot of them were Annie's, but the very first image, and my mom bought me this book, right? I was like, Mom, will you buy this book for me? And she's like, let me look at it. And the very first image is a picture of Janis Joplin, and she's fully naked, fully nude.
Oh, man.
I swear, I'm not getting it for that image. I promise. Yeah, Annie Leibovitz, Mark Seliger, some of the people I still look at their stuff, but from that spawned a lot of people, like the people that were, older than me, but between the age of Seliger and Leibovitz, like, Chris Buck and Peggy Sirota, which I still don't know if that's actually how you say her name, but Peggy Sirota, she's another one where I can look at an image and be like, oh, that's Peggy. She has just a certain charm to it and playfulness, and I think she would be a lot of fun to be photographed by, and you can see that in her images. Yeah, and I of course love Richard Avedon, like a plain white background and one light. If you can get an image from that, you're solid. Yeah.
And not
really I have a whole list. We could do that part all day, I'm sure.
Well, I just wanted to bring
not
up,
having a lot of photography. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
yeah,
it is 10 o'clock, and I just want to be respectful of your time. Are you?
Oh my
okay
gosh,
it
already is.
Time flies. I'm talking like.
I am good. I told James that.
Cool.
I had to take a nap because my bedtime as a millennial is usually 9. But you got me or whatever. So
same here. This has been an adjustment for me. I don't know about when me and James started doing
I'm happy to be
push me a little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We go a little bit longer too, but I don't want to interrupt you, James. Sorry, but I do want to get through the photos too that we were bringing up.
Yeah, I'll just ask this real quick. Not having the photography magazines anymore, or very few, has that what's been, you collecting all the photo books, over the years, and having like, what do you have, like 2 bookshelves worth?
I do, yeah. Which is one of my like prized possessions, or our prized possessions, are these books we've collected for the last 35 years. I mean, I have my very first photography book is on the shelf behind me, and I got that when I was like 12 or something. And so, yeah, there's a lot of photography books. I lived in the golden age of photography books. I feel like there's some limited editions. There's a lot of large bound books of some of the greatest photographs that are just emblazed in my mind. And unfortunately, the cost of like printing that stuff and there's just not a lot of them being made anymore. Whereas it used to be like there'd be a new photography book from somebody, 2 or 3 people a year, 4 people, maybe even more. And I like marked it on the calendar, right? Like, oh, there's going to be a book by David LaChapelle that comes out in 2 months. I gotta get to the store and get it, or a special order it. So photography books were huge for me. And yeah, the magazines, I mean, this is how like lame I am, but like my favorite thing was to go to the bookstore and like, as a student anyways, like a poor student, and look at the photo magazines, like Photo District News, PDN was around forever, and I loved that magazine, but just couldn't make it. So yeah, there's a lot that was lost in my opinion anyways, in the actual analog hardcover or printed photographs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% agree. So
a lot of those books, though, they're still at used bookstores. So if you're into that sort of thing, stop at half-price books.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
so this, I've been trying to get to this photo.
Okay, so there's 2 photos.
Yes.
Is the other one of Homer? Okay, so there's 2 photos. Okay, this is my dog Homer.
Homer.
Homer. And Homer is no longer with us. Homer passed away about 4 years ago, but from the very first day that Homer, like we brought him home as a puppy, he would always like, okay, so I started out like I was trying to do like P90X or do like little workouts and push-ups and like strength training thing, but I do it on the floor. Like I did on the floor in my office or in the bedroom. And Homer would always come in and just like jump up on my chest and just sit and look at me. It was like, and it, you know, he wasn't like fighting me. He was just like, what's going on here? I'm just gonna sit on my dad's chest and see what's happening. And that's from when he was like 12 pounds up, right? Like it was just he'd like climb in my shirt, and there's all these just sweet memories of him. But then when he got bigger, he would go in, and this is literally shot from the floor in my bedroom, looking up at him while he's on the bed, looking down at me, trying to figure out what I'm doing. Because I was intentionally there to take his photograph, and I'm like, I have to have a keepsake of this. So like this is just this like gentle little curious face, and again, it's like a white background. It's different color ceiling, but it's white and black and white, and it just felt so. It was him, you know. It is him. It's just the very personal moments that I would have with him, and this was the sort of constant. Like he was always curious, but he was also like, just want to check on you, make sure you're doing okay, Dad. So that and the other one were taken at the same time, and still some.
I feel like those would make for great prints. Did you ever print those out?
We have some prints. We have some prints. We have some magnets of them on the fridge. Like Homer was photographed well. Yeah, I can say he was a muse for both of us. For sure.
I'm a huge dog lover. I love dogs.
Oh.
I love that. All right. I like this one too a lot. Who is this?
So I don't know this man's name. This was from, okay, so I picked two photos, and one is there another one I can talk about before that? An older gentleman in a hat like that, right there, bottom left.
There.
So that's my grandfather. That was
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, that was a portrait I took of him. It was for college, but it was also he invested in me in so many ways, right? He gave me a lot of time. He gave me a lot of perspective, and then he actually invested in helping me buy a Mamiya 645 camera, you know, which at the time was like $3 or $4. When you add the lens in, it was like closer to $4,500. And what I loved about, I mean, obviously I felt so fortunate, but it was one of the things where, like, my grandfather was a farmer. He was a very, I want to say simple because that sounds derogatory, but he worked with his hands. He was out in the field. Like, he did things that not a lot of people are willing to do now. And the fact that like he took his money from a lifetime of hard work and then saw value in helping me take pictures, which not to belittle photography, but it was just a total break from what my family heritage, my lineage of what people did as career paths, was just so different, and it felt good to have his support. So all that stuff to say, it's a very simple portrait. Again, it's not technically wonderful. It's sound, but it's him. First of all, he has that cap, or he wore that cap all the time. Right, that was his signature. Like, he was the original Sam Jackson with the Kangles. So he had that hat, and I shot it with the camera that he helped me buy. So there's a lot of, again, sentimental value to it. But that's probably, to me, that's probably the most important photograph I've ever taken, because that was the photo that when he passed away, you know, they made a print of and hung or put on a display next to him. So that was the last photo that was really taken of him, and that's how he was remembered. So yeah, that's why that's one of my favorites. So not only is he a great guy, but he's just got a lot of character. And if you could zoom in, you could see all the wrinkles and whatnot. So that's why it's important to me. Now, if you go back to the other gentleman that you had originally, that's a reiteration of it. That's another guy. I do not know his name, but I was in Cuba. I did a workshop with the Santa Fe workshops 2011 and 2012. So I had the chance to go to Cuba for a couple weeks. And this was somebody that I met sort of out in the middle. This was outside of Havana. Like, it was a long ride out someplace. I wish I had more details to actually where it was, but this was a gentleman that I approached. There was a language barrier. It was literally like I held the camera up and was like, un photo, like kind of asking him. And it was just one of those things where he reminded me of my grandpa, right? Like, there was something about him, not only the age, but just in the kindness of his eyes. Like, there was something there. And then to top it all off, he's got, a very similar hat on. So I was like, all right,
Right. Yeah.
This feels like kismet. Like, I need to do this. So that's the difference between when I first started, and that the image of my grandfather was, 1999 maybe, and then this gentleman was the second trip in 2012. So sort of shows my evolution personally, but it also shows like what I still value, because it's this very similar subject matter. It's just a little different.
And they're so, both this and the photo of your grandfather are so very documentary photography-esque, and I love that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of frills to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm gonna stick to the black and whites first. Do you want to go?
Cool.
I'm trying to sort these. I don't know if there's.
I like it. It's like a little puzzle.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yes.
okay. So there's an image. There's an image of that man by himself. He's just him in the doorway. It's very bottom. Yep. Okay. So again, in Cuba, this was the first trip. We went out to a little town called Hershey, like the chocolate place, because there was a Hershey factory in Cuba in like the 40s and 50s. But it's abandoned now because there's embargoes and all that stuff. Like, this is a town out there that the people didn't have a lot, right? And this was a father and son that welcomed us into their home and let us take pictures, kind of what their house was like. They were having, this is just random. This wasn't set up. We just went out there and started kind of approaching people and talking to them. And these people, it was him and his son. The wife had passed away, and the mom, both. And they had a little garden out back, and they had a dog, and it was just this interesting, probably half hour worth of time. And I asked this man if I could take his portrait, right? Because he honestly reminded me of my own father. This is a big guy. My father was very hardy, we'll put it that way. Like, he's a jolly man. Just physically kind of intimidating, especially as a kid. It was like, oh, looking back, this guy's obviously had a life, man. Like, he's done a lot of work and making it happen for him and his kid. But so I asked him if I could take a portrait of him, and he actually said no. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I offend you. And through a translator, he told me that this man practices Santeria, which is like an Afro-Cuban religion. And he wasn't allowed to have his photograph taken, like his face anyways, right?
Oh, wow.
He couldn't have a portrait of him taken. And he apologized, like, no, I can't do that because of this, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, well, then let me take more of an editorial of him. So I was like, all right, let's put you in this doorway. So this was literally set up just that was going to be his portrait, just to sort of show this man in his space. And it's abstract, right? You don't get to see a face, but it tells you something about the person that lives there, right? And on all the details are there. So as I'm doing that, and you can cut to the next one, there's it's just to the left of that. You can see it's the boy. Yep. His son comes walking out from inside the house. And if you're able to see this larger, I mean, you guys are, like, it's a pretty menacing look on his face. Like, he sort of looks angry, or kind of like, almost like he stumbled upon this and doesn't approve of what I'm doing. right? Like there was something,
Okay.
there was,
Yeah.
the energy changed immediately, right? Like he changed, and he had been in the kitchen. And now if you look at his belt, to me it looked like a knife, honestly, because he literally had a knife in the kitchen, that he had been working with. I got to see him cut the head off a chicken, but
Wow.
nonetheless, he comes out and the mood changes completely, and now it's a portrait of the son and him. So then there's a third image, and it's cropped square, and that is when the kid just like melted into his dad, and that kid was, 18, 19 years old, and the connection that he had with his dad right then, in front of
Mhm.
like a bunch of different people that didn't really know what they were there for, didn't speak the language. Like there was a moment of bonding and just intense love. So it became the portrait of the dad and the kid at the same time. And it was a really powerful moment for me, like so much so that, I'm obviously thinking of my dad because it reminded me of him in the first place. And so like
Mhm.
I had to like excuse myself after that and kind of let the tears come out. But so that's what that sequence is, and why there's three images. There were three distinctly different moments, but all within the matter of like 2 seconds.
That's really cool. His
Yeah.
his face. I don't know how it's coming through on the screen, but I
Yeah.
see what you're saying about his face here.
Hmm.
Him coming around, and then how?
And then he's just loving it. Like he's like
Uh,
soft, right? And you don't
yeah,
see the
yeah.
belt. And it all
No,
became this, like these are two, for all intents and purposes, adult men that are willing to embrace in front of a bunch of people. And you could tell, it was great. It was just a beautiful
yeah.
moment. And then I had the chance to show my dad a series of those images. And much like me, he saw that series and started crying himself. So he felt it too. It's a
Yeah.
universal
So what?
thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So was this more like was this like one of the most impactful like moments when over there? Because you said you went there twice, right?
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
first trip was, I had not done a lot of street photography. I had not really put myself in a position to just photograph people I hadn't met or I wasn't hired to be there. So
Hmm.
this was both a chance to like just see an amazing place, but also go places with no real guarantee that anyone was going to let us take their picture. So yeah, that was the whole purpose of that trip, was to go and witness things and try to get some photographs. And I loved it. It was an amazing trip. So much so that I then went back a second time. But that being the first time I ever did it, um, I just wasn't comfortable with it. Like I wasn't comfortable approaching people,
Hmm.
especially coming from the U.S. where everyone suspects that you're the worst person in the world, or you're trying to exploit them in some
Right.
way,
That's
right?
Mm.
Like
yeah.
it's not something that I had ever done, and Cuba was the first place I ever felt comfortable doing that, and that whole trip was both trips were life changing.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be something it would be challenging to just walk up to people
Hmm.
and ask to do that. But do you give these
Yeah.
people these photos? Like, do they get this moment? Like, are you able to get that to them?
So the father and son, I actually did go. We went back that second year, and I had prints for them, but they had moved out of that house, and no one knew where they were. So
Oh man.
Mm,
I had every intention of giving them that. Yeah, but it didn't have the ability to print them
yeah.
while I was in Cuba. Like there wasn't a lab that was able to do that. So yeah, if it is someone that that I can get them to, like immediately to the left there's a gentleman in a suit and tie. Um, that he was one of those people that was
Oh
like,
yes.
I have to get him a copy of that photo, and that was just that kind of comes from, he was just a random guy. Like I'd never met him. I had worked in a building like for 3 days, and he was security or the front desk person. And every time I saw him, he was very cordial and looked very dapper. And on the second day, I was like, "Hey, would you mind if tomorrow I take your portrait?" He's like, "What do you want a portrait of me?" I'm like, you're amazing. First of all, you need your portrait taken, and I want to take it. So he totally agreed to it. And at the end of the third day, we tore down. We were tearing down from the actual reason I was in the building. I went downstairs and just photographed him in the lobby. Yeah, he was a gamer. So this was literally just like one light. No, there was a second light. There was a background light, but I think for that one, I actually turned it off. Just set it up in the lobby. Took maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And yeah, that again, having never done that in the U.S. before, hitting a home run on the person I did try it with. So yeah,
That's so
that's
cool.
Bill.
So do you just happen to have your stuff on you with that, or do you go out and look?
I did, yeah. And it was totally, I was there for another reason altogether. I was there to photograph marketing material for a college. And this gentleman, like I said, worked that building. So I had gear, right? Like I had my R5 and a couple flashes with me. And I just didn't tear those down. I just grabbed them, put them in the elevator, and went down in the lobby. And you know, he spared me like I said, 3 or 4. I set the lights, right? Like I set everything first, and James will attest to this. I always do like a test exposure of my hand, so there's like I have this collection of, so I can see what the light's doing, like how it's going to expose, and what the rim light and all that stuff is doing. So I set up the lights, got all that stuff ready, and I just like turned to Bill and said, "Hey, it's showtime." He got up, buttoned his jacket, gave me a couple looks like a total pro, and sat back down. I grabbed the lights and we were out of there. So yeah, it was luck,
so cool.
right? It was just a moment that I couldn't pass up.
How often do people say yes to when their portrait taken to no's?
You can get a lot of no's in a row, and it feels like that's an infinite amount.
Right.
But okay, so in this case, in the U.S., it's rarer, especially in like the Midwest, where people are not used to having a photographer approach them on the street, right? You're not going to go into the Keystone Mall and someone's like, "Yeah, I'm ready to have my portrait taken. I don't suspect you're going to do anything wrong with it." But so it depends on the location, right? If it's a city where people are used to sort of the weirdness of it, or they're just more liberal in their thinking, and they're like, "All right, go for it. I'm game." I will say in Cuba, there were rarely people that had said no. I mean, sometimes you would barter, right? Like, if they would ask for money, I didn't have money, but I made sure to bring things that they might have use for. I mean, something as simple as a pen or a rubber band or like some candy for some kids, like that's huge. So I think it builds a lot of rapport. But if you did that in the US, they'd be like, "What are you giving me candy for? What's in this candy? I'm so this is the last picture that's ever going to be taken of me." But there's just so much gratitude and intrigue and like willingness to have their photo taken. And granted, a lot of Cubans are bilingual, if not trilingual, so you could speak to people and they would have a conversation with you. But the ones that weren't bilingual, they only spoke Spanish, they were game too. Like they just sort of, you figure out a way. And
yeah,
I mean, if they obviously put their hand up and say go away, but I would say the percentage of that was well over 90%.
That's really interesting too, to think about just the setting difference, the cultural differences there on that.
We went to an elementary school and like on a playground, and that sounds so, being from the U.S., probably to all three of us, males in the U.S. going to a playground to photograph children is very suspect. But we were like the novelty, like, and there was a group of maybe 4 of us at that time, so a couple guys, 4 or 5, so probably 5, because I remember 2 women were there and myself, and then 2 other guys, and they were outside like playing, right? Like they were playing kickball, they were playing baseball. It was a recess basically. And we were so welcomed by the entire entire group of people there, not only the students, but like the faculty or the teachers that were there. And they came out and we, explained to them who we are, where we were from. It's always like, New York? No, not New York. Chicago? Los Angeles? No, Indianapolis. Yeah, that experience,
like,
it's just, exactly, right? I don't know. There's 2 places in the US, but I actually, it got to the point where I was so comfortable in being there and just, I ended up handing this probably 9-year-old my camera. I'm like, yeah, you take pictures, see what you can get, right? Hindsight, I don't know if I would do that again, but it was just, it was a gesture, right? They were giving me something that I didn't necessarily, it was a good faith gesture, right? Like they were allowing us to be there, and I was in turn giving them my camera, and they were very careful, and like, they took a bunch of photos and took some photos of me, and it was great. It was a good back and forth. So thankful for that,
cool.
for that moment.
It's probably something that's going to stick with them forever.
Mm-hmm.
Hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably going to be
to kind of wrap up,
taking a job from me, and I'll have very negative feelings about them. But it's cool until they're pros.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're dabbling in AI. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Oh man,
don't bring
that's a whole nother life.
Yeah. Don't try to bring that up. Yeah. What did we?
No, one of the last questions I had for you was, as we close, Robbie, what's 1 or 2 things that still excites you today, about photography and like wanting to keep up, picking up the camera?
I still like learning. Like, I mean, with as much experience or longevity as I've had, like I've got a lot of stuff. And I don't necessarily mean like how to work a camera, but I mean, forgotten what kind of look you can get out of a particular flash or modifier, or like dragging the shutter, or just, you sort of sometimes, especially if you're photographing for other people, you sometimes get this very narrow window of the type of images they want, and you don't have the opportunity to always play around and do something more creative. So I still like looking at other people's work, but looking at it from the standpoint of just like appreciating it, not necessarily comparing. And it will remind me like, oh yeah, I have a constant light source I could use to try that, and mix ambient light with the flash, or maybe someday. I mean, for example, I borrowed a tilt shift lens from a friend, and which I'd never really worked with before, just in the past like month, right? And did some landscape stuff, and that's something I'd never done. Like I knew how, I obviously knew what a tilt shift was for and where it was used, but I hadn't done it myself to photograph anything of importance. And just going through those motions, there's definitely a connection to photography that I'm still excited about. Even when it gets discouraging, it's still fun. And it's still fun to see people create amazing images that move me, right? Or I'm like, damn, I wish I was there. I wish I could have done that. Yeah, I'm still a kid when it comes to that stuff.
Yes. Right. And I think that's one of the biggest things about you, Robbie, as a photographer, is you're really, really good at shaping light. And I feel like that's something that not only do you bring to photography, but you also bring, like our job, you also bring to the videographers, and to be able to help them out with their lighting and stuff like that. So yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned a ton over the 3 years. I don't think
you have. I've seen
any other YouTube video.
Yeah, I've seen you flourish. So yeah, I appreciate that. It's a nice compliment.
I am, I guess I didn't preface this at the beginning. I don't know if James told you. I'm not much of a photographer myself. I'm definitely more on the video side of it, the more the motion picture. But I am, after talking to you, I feel very inspired now to get into portrait photography. I really want to. And actually started looking at these.
Good.
I do. I want to pick up a photo camera now.
Oh, absolutely. Good. Yeah. It's a good time. I mean, you make connections that mean, there are people that I photographed 20, 30 years ago. Like I still remember for one reason or another, like an experience that I had with that person and the image that came from it. That's not to say I remember everybody, because that's not true. But yeah, there's certainly something about, at least for me, that's how I've related to the world for most of my life. So if you can find that sort of connection with it, more power to you, for sure.
Yeah.
But I've seen your work. I've seen your video work. So all you have to do is get a smaller camera and press the button once and
thank you.
and not spend 8 hours processing it. Just go in the Lightroom and there you go. But,
it's really funny because I talk about to each of you about the other. I'm like, oh yeah, my friend Austin, and
that's true.
Robbie.
Austin, we need to have coffee and leave James out. Like, leave out that middleman.
Well, hey now.
There's some efficiency
fired.
in there we found. No, for sure.
I'm sure if you really looked at it and you went back to some footage, any footage of yours, there are moments where you could just take a single frame from that and you've nailed a portrait. You just didn't realize it.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I approach anything on the video side, I am trying to think of, and to me, I mean, I don't want to get down the whole rabbit hole, like what is cinematography or cinematic, but I do feel like in motion picture, you should be able to pause a frame and be able to pull it and it be a photo, and every frame should be able to tell a story. To me, that's what makes it cinematic, not so much the camera. The lighting helps tell that story through the camera. But I think that's
and for the audience that doesn't know how to express that, they don't know the technicals, they don't know color, temperature, and all that jazz. Like, it's a feeling, right? So if you can make someone have an emotion based on something you've created, like that's a sweet spot. That's your gold then. So kudos to you. Yeah.
I heard something. I don't remember how it was put. It was something about. Oh, it was some video I think I seen on Instagram. This guy was talking about creating art and putting it out there, and he said something about even when it's negative, you still created that opinion. Like that itself is almost art. Creating somebody to think about something in a way, even if they didn't like it, they had to think about it within on why they didn't like it.
It struck a nerve. Yeah, you got in their psyche. I love that. There's a quote from his name's, I think, Chef Duff. He was on the cooking channel or something, but he had this quote that was like, if someone says, wow, that sucks, at least they said, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if something's terrible, at least you got eyeballs on it, right? For one way or another, they had a reaction to it. And I think that's the point, right? Like, everyone likes to have what they've created at least get some sort of view. Right? It may not necessarily be good, but good and the bad, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to be respectful of everyone's time here. I know we went over, and it's easy to go over on these things. It's fun to talk about.
So easy.
I know there's a lot.
We do it all the time.
Here.
We do.
There's a lot we wanted to cover still and talk to you about. So I'd love to have you back on here again.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Anytime. Yeah, let me know.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to end it here. So thanks again, Robbie, for coming on tonight.
Sure thing. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it, Robbie.
Have a good holiday. All right.
See ya. See ya.
All right. Now, next Friday, make sure I'm still here. All right. So next Friday we will be live again, same time, same place here, and we are actually going to. Oh, James is jumping back in here before we end up here. James, can you hear me?
Oh.
We are still live. I'm still live here. So
we are
just wrapping up here. Yeah, okay.
So, did I prematurely hit the X button?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to figure out what that looks like on that end. So I don't know. I was able to end Robbie's, and I didn't know if I ended yours or not too on that. But anyways, so I was just wrapping up here, telling people we were going to be back here, same time, same place next week, and we're going to talk about the future of what we want to do here with these streams and kind of what we're trying to do here, and just our personal goals, things we want to do, things to possibly look forward to on this channel. I think it'll be a fun one. I have a lot I want to talk about, but there's a difference between talking and doing, and we gotta talk about
Yeah.
everything. There's a lot of things we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about. There's
hmm
things that we're gonna say we might do, and there's things that we say we're gonna do, and there's some things we're gonna say we're gonna do and not do. No, I'm just kidding.
As of
No,
as of right now, 2026 looks pretty full so far. So hopefully, everything
it
comes
really
to
does.
fruition.
Hey, we said we're gonna do this stream every Friday at 9, and we've been doing that. So
That's true. I mean, that's
yeah,
a start.
yeah, this is fun. Well, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. Thanks, guys, if you're hanging around here. And we'll see you next week.